Hi, welcome to Paranormal Captivity. It's been a little while since my last video, and a lot of things have happened since then. A lot. One thing that you might notice if you've seen my videos in the past is that I'm filming in a new house. But really it's a very old house, and it happens to be haunted. We bought this house 3 years ago, fell in love with it right away. We had always noticed this house in town, especially at Halloween, because they would hang floating witch hats on the porch. And so we came inside and there were little touches of spooky decor throughout the whole house. So we felt like they were kind of like our people. So we made an offer right away, and I included a letter in the offer. In the letter, I explained how if we were the next owners, we would carry on the tradition of the witch hats on the porch at Halloween, and that we were expecting and would love to raise our daughter here. And then in the signature portion of my letter, I included my Paranormal Captivity contact info. After everything was said and done and the house was ours, the past owner reached out to me, and she kind of asked about seeing the word paranormal in the letter. So I let her know I felt like we might have possible commonalities in that way, and that I was hoping maybe she was calling to tell me the house was haunted, and she was like, oh yeah, I am. So I'm gonna tell you a few of the stories she told me. So this house was made in 1890, and it's had a lot of owners. Decades and decades ago, there was an owner who did pass on the property in the driveway. Rumor has it that he had a bit of an alcoholism issue, and the last owner felt like he might have spent a lot of time in the basement, because anytime she would go downstairs, she would feel like she was being watched, just kind of like a creepy feeling. The husband never really got that impression, but whatever was down there at least paid attention to his possessions. So I know at one point that he did have a punching bag hanging down in the basement, and they had to take it down because they could hear the chain that it was hanging on swinging. Like, wouldn't stop until they got it out of the basement. The most prominent energy in the house is one that they named Granny. She loves kids, loves children, and tends to hang out in the upstairs, like, landing area and bedroom. They had also had a daughter when they first got this house, and she would be upstairs in that little baby room and would wake up and just kind of chill, wouldn't act like she needed anything for a while, and they could just kind of hear her talking. And then they started to notice it sounded like a voice was speaking back to her. So they felt like she paid attention to the kids, made sure they were safe, made sure they were good, and made sure the whole house was kind of running properly and feeling good. She also mentioned an experience where they had seen like a male entity, sometimes at the top of the stairs, also with a hat on. Didn't see him as often. They felt like Granny kept that energy in check. May have been a doctor. It's been a few years since I heard the stories, to tell you the truth. Our move-in process was kind of leisurely. We had a month where we were still at the apartment packing up and getting ready to move our stuff, and we had the house, and Alex was able to come in and start doing like repairs and painting and all of the stuff that we needed to do. So there was a point in time where he and one of our friends were in here doing some update things. I think they were actually in this room, either here or the kitchen. And when they were in here, they started hearing a voice. They said it sounded like it was coming from like the bedroom area around the corner, and that it sounded like it was coming through a radio. But I mean, there were no devices in the house, nothing that could be making the noise, but they both heard it. The first night that we stayed here, I had a really spooky dream. So there were a few contributing factors. I was pregnant at the time. That can contribute to some pretty vivid dreams. And I had also been kind of like going through boxes, and I came across my haunted doll collection and just like boxed it back up and scooted it along while I was looking for other stuff. So those might have been influences, but in the dream, I dreamed I was in here. At the time we had no dining furniture, but I dreamed there was a table, chairs, and the floor, and they were all wood. And in the dream, I could see the words go, get out, and gone being scratched into all of the wood surfaces like in live time. So I woke up feeling like, ooh, I might have pissed off those dolls. And then my next thought was, ooh, what if it wasn't the dolls? But I hadn't had any other creepy dreams after that. after we had been here a little while sleeping in there, I did have an experience a few times where it sounded like my dog, Saxon, was walking around the foot of the bed and he wouldn't be in the room. It would just be like, you know, dog claw kind of sounds pattering around. And I know right after like the purchase was done and the last owners were in the process of moving out, their dog passed away. So might have that residual energy in there at that time. Occasionally we would have some weird things happen with electronics. The main one that I can remember is we have a speaker in the living room that would occasionally just come on its own and just crank up to full volume. And then the creepiest thing that we experienced would be, it was definitely early on in this living here, but it would be like corner of the eye shadow things. Especially like they were just like entering the room like a big person coming in. Not to where like you would look in the corner of your eye and see them, like you would be like looking, like you would expect to fully like turn and see somebody coming in the room. I remember like talking to Alex and like mid conversation, like leaning forward and looking behind him, and he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, I saw somebody walking in and I didn't even think about it. Instinctively, I just turned to look because I expected to see somebody there. I also experienced a sensation of like feeling like somebody was rushing me. Like if I was doing dishes, I would feel somebody like walking up at me, like the energy of somebody like walking up quick or coming towards my back. It was always if I wasn't looking towards the center of the room, I would feel like it was coming up at me. And of course, nothing would ever be there. I'd turn, expect to see Alex like goofing around and rushing up on me, and there'd never be anything there. In the last, you know, couple years, activity that we associate with the house has really kind of calmed down. So we feel like anything that's here is kind of chill with us and likes us. Anything that's like negative has at least like calmed down to the point that we don't notice them or moved along. So we love our haunted house. It's amazing. If there is anything here, it knows that if it's cool, it's welcome. If it's not, it can, you know, go the other way. But if I do have any other experiences here, I will absolutely let you guys know. And if somehow I find out about any other instances of ghost stories that involve the house from like the past owner, I will definitely loop you guys in on that too. Which if somehow you're watching this video, hi, we still love the house. And funny story for all of the viewers, when I was pregnant, I went to go visit the last owner at her salon, and she'd asked how we liked the house. And the move-in process was so considerate and sweet. They had hung a witch hat from the light fixture in the kitchen when we walked in. So walking in, it was like, oh, look at that. And then they had sage waiting for us and had said that they smudged the house on their way out as well. So like first thing we came in, Alex used the sage smudge. I was cleansing with like chimes because he didn't want me near the smoke directly. But it was like a beautiful move-in experience, and it was so meaningful and just courteous and kind. And I was so overwhelmed with how much I loved the house and how much I loved their consideration of us and making it such a special moment. I got so emotional, and I know my pregnancy hormones were just like through the roof. And so I just started crying and choking on my words and couldn't even say how much I loved it. So if you are still watching this, still embarrassed about that, my bad. Thank you so much for watching. And if you are one of my past subscribers, thank you so much for kind of keeping in touch. Many of you would like message me or comment on things or stay in touch through social media, and it meant the world to me because I love being on YouTube. I just hadn't found a way to balance that with my life, and so I'm very excited that I am making content for you right now. So if you do want to be notified when my next post happens, make sure you hit the notification bell so that way you don't miss out. If this is the first video that you guys are seeing of mine, hi, I'm Kat. I hope you like my videos. If you do, please feel free to subscribe or check out the stuff I've made in the past. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Kat. This is Paranormal Kativity, and have a strange day. Bye.